Corey Dillon were knotted up at 7. We move to the third quarter. Adam Vinatieri, the folks here in New England know him well. He never misses field goals. He missed a field goal. The folks cheer. They don't know what to do. Oh, he's our guy, but he doesn't play for us anymore, so they've got to cheer. Later in the third, same score, 3rd and goal. This catch, it's genius. It's as good as you will see, and this you never see. Number 88 never gets emotional, but after this catch, Marvin Harrison deserves to celebrate. Tips it to himself, 1 foot in, drags the left toe. This guy, all cake, no icing, just shows up, does his thing week in and week out. One of the best there's ever been. Bill Belichick did not challenge, and he made the right call because it was one of the finer touchdowns you will see. Fourth quarter, 7-point game. Brady trying to get his team back in it. Ball's tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it's Cato June. That's not go blue spirit. These guys were teammates at Michigan. 3rd pick of the game for Brady. Now Adam Vinatieri, he's made his last 20 straight field goals in the 4th quarter and overtime. When it's clutch, when it matters, he makes. This is late in the game, and it fades to the right. This was after the Colts, if they would have gotten the 1st down, could have run out the clock. So now it means that Brady gets one more chance. The turnover bug has been biting, and it bites one more time. And again, not necessarily Brady's fault. It's a tip pass off the hands of Kevin Faulk, and it's June again afterwards. The respect of the quarterbacks, a 4-pick night for Brady, and the Colts win it. Manning's numbers, this is Steve, hard to believe. 300 yards in 3 straight games for the first time for Peyton Manning. You wouldn't necessarily think
hard to believe.
You'd think that that's something he would do just about every game. It is the 136th time he's passed the 300-yard mark in a game. The Colts have now won 2 straight in New England. Probably will not have to go back there because home field should go through Peyton and Indianapolis.
Really came out hot and throwing the ball and taking advantage of some matchups. And then the one thing we didn't do in the second half is run the ball as good as we wanted to, but just a great overall team win.
Obviously, we need to play a lot better than that, and we're playing a good team, and I think the defense really kept us in there with as many turnovers as there were, and you're not really expect to win when you play the way we played. I think we moved the ball okay at times. It was just too many little mistakes, and obviously the turnovers.
When Manning was in college, the yeah, but was, yeah, but he can't beat Florida. In the pros, it was, yeah, but he can't win in New England. Well, now Manning is on a different plane entirely, and yeah, but nothing. 2 straight wins in New England. Manning throws for over 320 in both games. 5 touchdowns in the last 2. He had only 8 his first 7 trips to Foxborough.
All right, Scotty, thanks. Here to talk it over is Sean Salisbury. It seems like whenever Peyton Manning and Tom Brady get together on a football field, we always say what great numbers Manning has, but Brady winds up victorious. He gets the win down the stretch. Well, in this particular outcome, it was Manning with the stats, Manning with the victory.
Yeah, which is huge. And Manning with a leg up now as you look at the best team in football, the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton Manning under duress, that was the biggest thing for me on the Sunday night game, is he was able to come through while getting hit in the mouth and do things that may not be comfortable for him. Scrambling left, then squaring his shoulders, throwing back across his body, knowing he's going to get hit in the mouth. You don't have to look a guy in defense in the mouth to know you're going to get hit. You feel it, and then he hits Marvin Harrison. See, that leaves right on the numbers. He knows he's going to take the shot from Rosie Colvin, but makes the completion instead of throwing it to the other team. Again here, looking left, realizes the pressure, has to sidestep it. Now, don't throw it to the other team or throw a fumble. Just drop it off to your tight end. Let him get you some extra yards, 10, 12. Smart play goes from being a disaster to being UTEC and a big game and getting your team in position to score points. And then in the 4th quarter, when it matters most, pressure on, going to take a shot from the front side, from the back side, stands in there and holds it long enough to hit UTEC again. Big Ben UTEC making some catches. That's the other tight end that's not named Dallas Clark on the team, but it was Manning under duress. He came up with the numbers you talked about, but also came up with the most important, a win to get him to 8-0 and prove why they're football's best team, and Manning is the MVP.
Not surprised by the effort by Peyton Manning. We know all about his talents. Very surprising was what happened to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Yep. Brady had played his previous 33 home games without being intercepted more than once. He's picked off 4 times in this one. Patriots made mistakes all over the field.
Yeah, they did. Now, how do I analyze this? I don't know. This is uncharted water talking bad about Tom Brady because he did something that he shouldn't have done. This was not a Tom Brady night. Normally, when the lights are shining brightest, he comes through. You see here now, early in the game, you're on this side of the field of the Colts. This is where you must come away with points when you got a Colts team. Buffet reads it, the ball hangs in the air too long. There was no shot at getting that throw in there. Tom knows it. When he looks over the tape, he'll be disappointed. Now here we are in the second quarter, again on the Colts side of the field. Down the middle, he's been great to the tight end, but look at that triangle of players. They're playing that too deep. Bobby Sanders with the interception. When you're going to throw that one, you see how the linebacker's running with him, Steve? Instead, if you have to lob it, then you got to check it down because that means you can't stick it in there, lob it, check it down, take what Tom Brady would normally do, and that's being patient. Didn't do that in this game. The one thing that shocked me about this game more than anything was their inability to run the football on a consistent game plan. It was as bad a game plan as I've seen the Patriots have offensively in a long time. They should have handed it off and ran straight ahead, and I think they'd have controlled this game a lot better.
And also important to note, should we see these two teams again head-to-head later in the season? You know where that game's now going to be played.
Back indoors.
Indianapolis. Right. Huge advantage for the Colts. Sean joins us later on SportsCenter. He'll look at his first half MVP and biggest disappointment in the NFL.
All right, fellas, just getting started with Week 9 in the NFL on SportsCenter. Back in '85, Dan Marino and the Dolphins into the Bears' quest for perfection. See why it was deja vu all over again 21 years later. And the Redskins and the Cowboys have seen just about everything from each other over the years. Sunday, a chapter Joe Gibbs couldn't even watch. The Blitz is on the way. Boomer and TJ and the Stars out in the NBA. All the action from the hardwood and a new Nextel Cup chase leader. And a post-race scuffle in Texas. SportsCenter rolls on.
Hello once again, everybody, and happy election week for football. Go out and vote, as they say in Chicago early and often. Chris Berman along with Tom Jackson on the Blitz, because this week, Tom, Week 9 was stuffed with some different stuff.
Packed.
Different stuff. Well, we did have a chance for the Bears and the Colts to get to 8-0. There's only been 3 times in history that 2 teams at the same time got 8. Oh, and certainly Chicago playing 1-6 Miami. This would be easy. That's why they play the games. Here we go at Soldier Field, where Rex Grossman and the Bears have been absolutely crushing teams. Do you remember 1985? Dan Marino for Coach Shula hit Nat Moore. And on this night, Miami gave the Bears their only loss of the year, 38. Coach Ditka didn't like it. But this is not 1985. This is 2006, where the Bears are all-powerful. Devin Hester fumbles. Eddie Jackson, Tom's third cousin, picks it up. Miami in business at the 6. 3rd and goal at the 5. Joey Harrington played plenty of games there with the Lions. Hits Marty Booker. Don't worry, Miami's up 7-3. Certainly, this is not going to happen, Tom. Jason Taylor, a proud Dolphin, and you watch him. He brings it every game, and Jason Taylor drops back in coverage, snares it. Rex Grossman is picked off, and it's a touchdown. What a defensive lineman dream, 14-3. Now, Taylor again makes another big play.
Yeah, Jason Taylor acting like he's on the slot. Then you see him do a great job of getting a push, a pass rush, and forces a fumble. He was everywhere today.
14-3 Miami, but don't worry, there's no way the Bears are going to lose to the Dolphins. Come on. Rex Grossman says that's right. I'm going to go down there. He can do this. Throw it deep to Muhsin Muhammad, and what a grab he makes. Touchdown. Take another look with the leap, the grab, and it's going to make it 14-10.
Yeah, you know, you get these big receivers, 6'3", 6'4". They're able to go up over defenders and make that grab. He gets to the end zone there.
Bernard Berrien hurt. Justin Gage is in, and he is disengaged from the football. Jeremiah Bell, he makes the hit and fumble. Andre Goodman has it and returns it all the way to the 12. So again, the Miami defense setting up the Miami Dolphins on a short field. Shades of Kyle Orton last year for the Bears, Tom. Harrington to Wes Welker, 21-10 Miami. Upset. There's no way the Bears are going to lose to Miami. It's 21-13. And Grossman, we just kind of flung that, huh? Ronaldo Hill picks it off. And again, Miami has the ball at the Bears' 24. 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles, 6 turnovers, Bears today. Next play, Harrington to the end zone. Chris Chambers, time has come today. Between the 2 defenders, what a catch, 28-13. You know what, Tom? I'm beginning to think that Miami just might upset the Bears on this day, despite that lick by Urlacher. Ronnie Brown had a big game, 157 yards. The Bears fans, they weren't expecting this. Neither was Lovie Smith. 31-13. Miami ends the Bears and the Bears fans' thoughts of an undefeated season that ends with a thud. Miami, of all teams, come off a bye and go into Chicago and literally steal it with the 6 turnovers by the Bears. Jason Taylor, one of the many stars. George Smith at Soldier Field.
After beating their opponents by an average of 30 points in their first 4 home games, the Bears finally found a formidable opponent, themselves. Rex Grossman was responsible for 4 turnovers, including 3 interceptions, as the Bears gave away their undefeated season.
If it doesn't hurt, how important is winning, so it hurts bad. And, we're 7-1. It hurts. We're going to think about it for a couple of days and watch the tape and get better, and then put everything in perspective of what's out there for us to go get.
Our football team didn't play well. I mean, starting with the coaches and going all the way down. Again, Rex was a part of that, but we had a lot of things that went wrong today.
You never think that you're going to have 6 turnovers, and the way that we had them was it's terrible. And if we play like that against a good team, especially a good defense like Miami, it's going to be hard to get victories.
It was definitely hard for us to get anything going, established, especially when we would have a drive going, and then all of a sudden, we'd have a turnover, and that would just kind of stop our momentum.
The Dolphins' 3 offensive touchdowns matched the total number the Bears had given up in their first 4 home games. But it was the Bears' turnovers that put Miami in position. In those 3 scoring drives, the Miami offense totaled just 42 yards. Adewale Ogunleye said even though the Bears managed to beat Arizona despite turnovers, when you have 6 of them, you have no business winning. In Chicago, George Smith, ESPN.
All right, George, thank you. So the Bears up to this point 7-0. They had given up about 14 points a game. Their turnover margin going in +7. They'd outscored opponents by 152 points. However, on this one day, they lost, giving up 31 points. Turnover margin -4. They lost 31. It's going to happen. And so first off, Rex Grossman said they're 7-1, which is a good thing. But can we please stop? And can we stop comparing them to the 1985 Bears? I'm going to compare them today to these 75 Bears who went 4-10. All right, now maybe there's a comparison you want to make. That's absurd as well. All good things must pass. They made it to November undefeated, but this was the 3rd time. 6 turnovers. They did it against Arizona and again today.
Yeah, I heard it from Grossman, heard it from Lovie Smith as well. And I think what you look at here is you look back on this season now, you see the game against Minnesota, the game against Arizona, today against Miami. Not the 85 Bears, but I think this is a good thing for them. A very good football team. Just be the 06 Bears, and now you get as far as you can, try to seed yourself in the playoffs, win your division, but give the Miami Dolphins credit. Joey Harrington, a couple of picks, but, he bought some time for his receivers. Jason Taylor played lights out today. I think defensively, the Dolphins really a pretty good football team.
Yes.
Offensively today, they got a little help, so, give them credit. The Bears have an outstanding football team, but forget about the 85 Bears. Just be who you are. Be the 06 Bears.
Here's another thing, and the Bears, remember, everyone's going, well, maybe they can lose 1 or 2. Look at the schedule. Now, all of a sudden, you have the Giants coming up next week on the road, 6-2. You have the Jets coming up. By the way, the Bears can leave their stuff in the Meadowlands visitors' locker room and just leave it there for the next week, 4-4. Then you're at New England. You're home to Minnesota with a winning record, although they've come on some tough times. St. Louis, all of a sudden, that schedule doesn't look like a cakewalk.
It looks a little different now.
Yeah, so the Bears are human, and congrats to Miami for showing some moxie. Dallas and Washington, how many great times have they hooked up over the years? Would this be another one of those? Here we go with Tony Romo. New life to the Cowboys last Sunday night against Carolina. Clinton Portis always with disguises. That's real oxygen. Joe Gibbs, 4th and goal, going to go for it. And Dallas defense rises up and stops Clinton Portis. But instead of turning the defensive series into a plus, the offense hands it back with Julius Jones. Bang! Lamar Marshall, the safety. So Washington gets a 2-run home run from Nick Johnson, and they lead 2-0. Then Romo, Terrell Owens, 16 yards, 2 feet in. Same drive, 3rd and 7 down to the Redskins 10. Romo, as we go here, 2nd quarter, to Terry Glenn, 10 yards. Cowboys went for 2. Bill Parcells said it was the chart. It seemed early, but what have you. Cowboys don't get it. It's 6-5. Then Clinton Portis around the left side. Who's not going to get him, Tom?
Roy Williams right there, just the angle, not quite the angle he needed. Speed, not quite the speed he needed.
38 yards, it's 12-9 Skins. Romo, shotgun, tied at 12. Back to pass to Patrick Creighton.
Wow.
Down the sideline in the sun. That's a tough grab. Throw right there, 48 yards. There. Second and goal at the Redskins 4. Romo. Terrell Owens catches, touchdown, and then, you know, making fun of the fact, hey, I take naps. Well, it's a 15-yard penalty. This is just foolish. There are about 18 flags on it. Cowboys lead 19-12. T.O. catches, but T.O., he could go. Oh, what a critical drop that was.
Yeah, you take another look at this. This is a chance to put the game away. T.O.'s got it in his hands. He tries to refocus on it. You know, he agonized over it, but you got to make that catch. You got to make that catch.
Could have put him up by 2 scores. They're certainly in position to do it. Now, Antoine Randall, part of the gadgetry that he delivers to Brandon Lloyd. Incomplete. Roy Williams going to get flagged, and so it goes kind of as a completion, 48 yards.
Almost incidental contact, except he got there just soon enough to draw the official's attention.
Mark Brunell, Chris Cooley between defenders. That's a nice juggling catch. 18 yards. We're tied at 19. Now, the last 35 seconds of this wild. Nick Novak kicked it nearby Maryland. The kick is up. It's on the way for the win. It's 40. No, forget it. Wide right, 49 yards, and there's time left on the clock for Dallas. Now, how about this throw from Tony Romo with 13 seconds to go from about the 45? Zing to Jason Witten, 28-yard game. Coach Parcells, timeout. They got the timeout. Field goal range, 6 seconds to go, and it's going to be Mike Vanderjagt, 35 yards. He's almost automatic, except blocked by recently acquired Troy Vincent. And then, to make matters worse for Dallas, Sean Taylor picks it up. Uh-oh, wait a minute. A flag comes down as the return is on. Taylor into plus territory, and Roy Williams knows. I think there's a face mask on us, Tom.
Absolutely, saw it right there. Now, that doesn't look like the 15-yard variety, but it was called as a 15-yard penalty.
So it gives him a 47-yarder, and Novak, it's no good. No! It curves back. The nice little draw on the ball, Tom, like your tee shots. Good! 47 yards, and Parcells can't believe that Novak. Boy, Maryland won on a big field goal on Saturday against Clemson. Novak kicked for Maryland. T.O. had his chances. The Redskins win an improbable 22-19 game over the Dallas Cowboys, who have had the Giants stud, the Carolina high, now the Washington stud. What a 3 weeks for Dallas and Coach Bill Parcells.
It's a heartbreaker. I really don't have too much to say. Just one of those games, could have gone either way, and it's a really tough pill to swallow, because after all that, closing the distance down there to get a shot at winning, and then have it just to reverse itself, it's very disheartening.
For a guy that's kicked thousands of balls in his life, I knew it was going in just by the way it came off my foot. So I hit it great. I wasn't nervous, and after I hit it, I felt like we were off to the races and winning the game. And when you hear thud, thud, it's not a good deal. For 1.3 seconds, you got to hold it, and everybody's got to do their job, and, you know, it takes 11 guys.
Well, it might have been good had it gotten past Troy Vincent and company. They busted through, kick, look, they'll judge that in the films. Dallas. Giveth, taketh away, right, for the two.
Well, I think that one of the keys is the penalties, 153 penalty yards. And, you know, you can see the exclamation mark at the end of the game. You know, you're kicking the ball with a chance to win the game. Not only do you get the ball blocked, you get a little bit of a return from the Redskins, but you get the penalty tacked on, which makes that a 47-yard field goal and a makeable field goal. And then I think, you know, for T.O., you've got to make that catch. We said that during the highlight package. Now I'm reminded a couple of times. There's the Giants catch that could have put him back in the game, and there's this one that could have put a game away. You know, you just got to do the things you need to do.
You know, another reminder, Tom, division games on the road. It shows you now, put in perspective, the Giants have a 2-game lead in this NFC East, partly because they won at Philly and they won at Dallas. Here's Dallas going to, quote, lowly Washington. Couldn't get a win on the road. You start winning on the road in the division.
That's right.
That's why one team is up 2 games on Dallas and the Philadelphia. And it makes Washington now much more interested in their game at Philly next week as a result of having a big division win against Dallas.
Romo, pretty impressive.
Yes,
as well.
very good.
Yes.
But Washington wins. You're watching the Blitz.
The Blitz is brought to you by Nike.
Welcome back to the Blitz, everybody. Here we go towards decision day at the polls on Tuesday. But in this case, the Baltimore Ravens had a real chance, Tom, to open up some serious lead in the election in the AFC North if they could win at home against Marvin Lewis and the Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore had a one-game lead going in, and on the very first play, Baltimore was in business. Mike Smith strips the ball of Chris Perry. Musa Smith recovers for the Ravens, leads to Jamal Lewis touchdown, Bengals in a hole. More hole here. Carson Palmer to Chad Johnson off his hand. Samari roll. Shakes, rattles, then rolls. And then, as he's going to go down, where's Ed Reed? I feel you. I feel you. I got you. And Ed Reed could go all the way. 5 minutes in, 14-0. Baltimore.
The exact thing you don't want to happen in the other guy's building.
Stover, a field goal, 17-0. Carson Palmer hits TJ. You say Hushmanzada.
I say Hushmanzada.
I say touchdown, 26 yards, 17-7. Now 23-10 fourth quarter. Palmer to Chris Henry, the angular one. 71 yards down the sidelines. Now the ball down. Knee hit first before the fumble. They challenge. But while, and this ended up not counting, Ed Reed takes a hard spill, and Ray Lewis takes a harder spill.
And you just want the referee, and I know it's split-second decision, but to recognize he clearly was down, and then those injuries would not have taken place. There wouldn't have been a return.
Now, Ray Lewis gets back in place, but why not, why not try it? Rudy Johnson runs right at Ray Lewis. Very next play, 4-yard touchdown. Rudy and the Bengals in business.
Well, Ray not 100% after that lick that he took along with Ed Reed.
So now it's 23-17, 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth. Steve McNair. And looking for Derek Mason, his old buddy from Tennessee. Ooh, Jonathan Joseph had a chance. Mason actually made a very good play, saving a problem. Ravens kick a field goal. 26-20, 2-minute warning. Carson Palmer looking for Hushmanzada. And it is incomplete, fourth down. They want the flag. But Ronnie Prude, one of those guys that had an interception last, and he throws the helmet, which you can't do.
And again, might have been a little bit of early contact, but again, the referee, that looked almost simultaneous. I don't discredit the ref for making that call.
Now, this is strange. So the Bengals have no timeout. So 4th and 23, Steve McNair, throw the ball up as high as you want. Brian Billick electing not to punt, not to try a field goal because it might get blocked. But now, the Bengals take over at their own 29-yard line. They get 18 seconds to go. What could happen? Well, Carson Palmer can throw it deep to Chris Henry. Could he make a well, he doesn't even try for a miracle grab. Chris McAllister jumps off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Palmer saying, hey, Chris, the line's blocking. I'm throwing. Give me the effort that the rest of the team. I mean, I don't know that's what he said. I'm guessing.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. And the Ravens beat the Bengals, who feel that their loss unacceptable because all of a sudden Cincinnati's nice start. Remember, they were 3-0 at once upon a time. Now the Cincinnati Bengals are 4-4, and the Ravens indeed do have a 2-game lead. And Brian Billick calling plays. How about 3 defensive touchdowns in 2 weeks? That's some good play calling, and they did it again.
Well, the defense is making plays, but I give Brian Billick credit. He is calling about 38, 39, 40 runs during the course of the game, and that's making Steve McNair very, very comfortable as a thrower in the pocket.
And the Baltimore Ravens, what a difference a year makes for them. They are 6-2 at the halfway point and feeling very good about things in the AFC North, especially with the champions struggling big time. You're watching the Blitz.
Lots more Week 9 straight ahead. The defending champs on the verge of dropping to 2-6. It's been 36 years since a team with that record made the playoffs. See if the season is now all but over. Pittsburgh.
Good thing they're chasing a cup and not Tony Stewart. We head to the Dickies 500. That's Terry Labonte's crew. This is his last race. Here's his daughter.
Dad, for the last time, start your engine.
You saw his 1980 Southern 500.
Welcome back to the Blitz, everybody, and we go to Blitzburg, where, let's face it, Tom, the Denver Broncos, a team that Pittsburgh beat in the AFC Championship game last year, wanted to show Pittsburgh, we can do better than that. Meanwhile, the champs, their backs were against the wall at 2-5. Could Big Ben Roethlisberger and company snap out of it at home? Well, they're already down 7-0, and how many times have we seen it on this day, Tom? A kickoff return, just fumble by Santonio Holmes. Derek Williams, who was toasted last week by the Colts, boy, he had a big game on this day. Broncos take over. Jake Plummer, Javon Walker. That's pretty. 10 yards, 14-0 Broncos.
Yeah, a little fade route to Javon, goes up and gets it.
Roethlisberger, 4th and 2 to Cedric Wilson. They pick up more than the first down. And it's a fumble. Sam Brandon forces it, and Darren Williams is there on the football. Then Big Ben scrambling, avoids a couple of, how long does this play take? Whoop! He goes back the other way. Buying time, touchdown. Willie Parker hits a 14-7 game. How much energy can you expend on one play? Willie Parker pens outside, just a short gain. Closer look, though, Hines Ward.
Well, Hines Ward good at everything that you want from a football player. Here to block on Nick Ferguson, and he puts him down for the count right there. Nick was a little bit woozy.
There are turnovers, and then there's those in the red zone. And Champ Bailey, who was immense a week ago, had a big pick inside the 5. Red zone turnover, 14-10. It's Denver at the half. And now, first minute of the third quarter, this is the backbreaker. Javon Walker, the end around. 72 yards, gone. What a great call by Mike Shanahan.
Yeah, taking advantage of a little over pursuit by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Javon Walker, you know, what an athlete.
And now Pittsburgh trying to make something happen. Big Ben being chased, fires, and the champ is there to thwart the champs.
You know, you have to wonder, when teams go at Champ Bailey, you just don't get it sometimes.
Willie Parker gets it in the end zone, 3 yards. Still a 21-17. Steelers behind, but now they're within 4. Jake Plummer, the loft. Javon Walker there for a 10-yard touchdown, fourth quarter. 3 TDs, Walker on the day. 28-17 Broncos. Roethlisberger, Hines Ward. One last gasp. What? Uh-oh! Do they think it's a touchdown? They do. But John Lynch forced it. Take another look. And the refs were on this because before he breaks the plane, ball's free.
Well, you're looking right down the plane of the end zone. You can see clearly that ball pops out about the 1-yard line. Broncos would recover. And, you know, Hines Ward, great football player, agonizing over that mistake.
Well, the champs are 2-6. It's a hole that's going to be too deep. The Broncos beat him 31-20. Javon Walker, 206 yards total. But look, Pittsburgh now 6 more turnovers on this day. That's 24 on the season, more than they had in the regular season all of last year.
Yeah, combine that with game plan, 19 runs, 58 passes, boom, from the Steelers. Doesn't sound like the Steeler game plan.
Yeah, 433, a career high for Ben, but that's not what it is, and it's 2-6 Steelers. Meanwhile, Show Me State rivalry, 2 teams playing pretty good football first half of the season. Chiefs at Rams. Larry Johnson. Wow. Grandmama. Wow. He is unbelievable. And you think he's going to go out of bounds? I don't think so. 45 yards. Came into the game with almost 1,000 yards from scrimmage this year. Dane Looker calling for a fair catch as the Chiefs punt, but look no further than a loose ball. It's a muff. D. Brown on it. Chiefs. So on the road, Kansas City. Who's hot? Give it to Larry Johnson, and the Chiefs lead 7-0. Second quarter. If I could only get away from Jared Allen. He can. Mark Bulger fumbles. Steve Williams not caddying for Tiger this week. Recovers for the Chiefs. Second Ram turnover the half. Damon Heward, what a job he's done spelling Trent Green. Tony Gonzalez, 14-0 Chiefs. And congratulations to Tony. He passes the great Otis Taylor. Most touchdowns, Chiefs history, 59. Mark Bulger, Steven Jackson. He had a 200-yard day combined rushing and receiving. Bulger, Jackson, 13 catches for 133. Leads to a field goal, 24-10 at the half, Kansas City. Bulger, Kevin Curtis, great catch with Ty Law all over him, 24-17. Here come the Rams. But Bulger, Isaac Bruce, can they get the equalizer early fourth? There's a flag. Bruce can't believe it. It's against him. Offensive pass interference. Rams end up punting, and that means cue Larry Johnson. Goes outside. 27 carries, 172 more yards.
Yeah, great patience at the beginning of that run. He hesitates a step, and then he takes off.
Heward back to pass, and he hits Chris Wilson. That Damon Heward-Chris Wilson combination, just what you thought when you handicapped the Chiefs in the preseason. And the Chiefs, they've won 3 in a row now for Herm. An 0-2 start has turned to a 5-1 run to make them 5-3, 31-17. Kansas City wins it in first. Look, you got it. Larry Johnson, look, Earl Campbell's in the Hall of Fame. There are very few names who run the football with the speed and with the authority. I mean, when Jamal Lewis was younger and he wanted to dish out the punishment, Johnson's faster than. But Tom, I'm not coming up with many names of the last generation that are carrying it like this. Do you agree?
I agree, absolutely. And I think the other thing that we have to look at, you think about the Chiefs of the last few years, it was always about this defense not doing their job, couldn't tackle while the offense scored a lot of points. You know, give Herm Edwards credit. He has gone in there and they have become a tougher defensive football team. You know, he inspires. He inspires people to play better.
You know something else what the Chiefs have done? And I don't think very many football teams do this. Correct me if I'm wrong. The running backs, the offensive line, and the tight ends, let's go in and watch film together. Now, that's unusual. Oh, there's the hole.
Yes.
Maybe I'll hit it. It's unheard of. But, boy, is it paying off in the way the Chiefs are moving the ball on the ground.
Absolutely. You do that when you want the teams, two sides, to understand what the other guy's doing.
Well, they understand it, and Kansas City is now a big factor in a division where Denver and San Diego are pretty good themselves. You're watching the Blitz.
The Blitz is brought to you by Nike.
As for the college kids, both Ohio State and Michigan had their close calls on Saturday, but they remain atop the newly released BCS standings. However, as most expected, Louisville jumps up into third. They really closed the gap between themselves and the Buckeyes. Best players in the 80s, Heisman Trophy winner Bo Jackson and Butkus Award winner Brian Bosworth met twice in the NFL, including a memorable 1987 appearance on Monday Night Football. Jackson's Raiders facing Bosworth's Seahawks. Bo set a team record with 221 yards rushing, ran over the Boz,
Here's Bo, and here goes Bo for the touchdown.
Brian Bosworth will join our Monday Night Football crew when the Raiders meet the Seahawks here on ESPN. Now back to the Blitz, Boomer and TJ.
Welcome back to the Blitz, everybody. Atlanta had started out 5-2, and we have an expression around here, Tom. 1 is an accident, 2 is a trend, 3 is evidence. Well, Michael Vick, the last 2 games, his arm had been hotter than his mercurial feet. He had thrown 7 touchdown passes last 2 games, and Mike Vick is at lowly Detroit. So this one should be easy, right? Vick scrambling up the middle, but oh, it's a fumble. He's fast, but he got to protect the ball. Number 1 pick Ernie Sims recovers for the Lions, who are already up 3-0. And then Kevin Jones, a couple plays later, 3rd and 1. Where's the defense? What? He's gone, and whee! 35 yards. 10-0 Detroit? Are you kidding me? That's why they play this game. Algie Crumpler. He can catch those bullets. 19-yard touchdown. It's now 10-7. Now Vick looking for Dwayne Blakely, but no, it's behind. And Dre Bly picks it off inside the 10. He's down at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, take a look at this from the high angle, bottom part of your screen. Dre Bly hanging outside. You know, Michael Vick never sees him. He's watching the receiver come across. Easy pick for Dre.
Later on in the second, Vick drops back and watches whoop, and then zing with those defenders there. Or they buoys in the water. 33 yards, and the Falcons in business at the 4, setting up Warwick Dunn. Little guy, oh, I'll run between tackles, no problem. 17-14, we got a game. Falcons, though, struggling on 3rd down on this day, Tom. 3rd quarter, Vick, and this just, even though Crumpler it usually makes those catches.
Yeah, he doesn't drop many of those.
But it was hot. That was hot. Atlanta 3 of 11 on 3rd down. Then John Kitna. He was hot to Roy Williams. Wow. Look at number 11 go. All the way. Williams, big day, later made a circus catch.
Yeah, you watch him run that little skinny post, and boy, once he gets the ball, he has got some fleet feet.
So the Detroit Lions, who would have guessed that Detroit off a bye, Buffalo off a bye, Miami off a bye, and Washington off a bye would all win? I don't get it. But the Lions make Atlanta look like, yeah, but 30-14. Atlanta just not on it. Give Detroit the nod. Now, Saints. Last week, humbled by Baltimore. Now it's their first road game in a month. They had struggled earlier in the year to Drew Brees and the Saints against the Buccaneers. And on this day, they made sure, Tom, it would not be a struggle again. Brees to the 7th-round pick from
Hofstra.
Marcus Colston. What a start he's had. Touchdown.
You know, shaking up on the play, but the important thing, boy, look how he tucked the ball away before he could hit the ground. I think he's going to be a great receiver. Great.
Now, Drew Brees to Devery Henderson, wide open, 52 yards, and the Saints came out firing at the new sombrero. They led very quickly, 17-0. John Gruden, his rookie quarterback, Bruce Gronkowski, talk about it. They've scored once to make it 17-7. Then Joey Galloway catches one from Gronkowski. Dog for everybody, 17-14. Reggie Bush, hello NFL.
Well, he's coming off of an ankle injury, and you see him working it right there. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were on him. You know, he didn't have quite that quickness that he usually has, and they stifled him. 11 carries, -5 yards today, Boom.
Well, so Tampa did a good job there, but against Drew Brees. And here he is to Henderson again. Look at this rainbow. Beats the defender. 3 touchdown passes on the day to Brees. Saints win, pulling away 31-14, 314 yards throwing for Drew Brees, who, look, everybody's allowed a bad game.
That's right.
But he obviously is on it this year because he came back.
And that's the thing you look for. I had a bad game, but I came back, and I think that's why he is the most valuable acquisition this year by any football team.
And so with Atlanta's loss and the Saints win, and, of course, Carolina's sitting at 4-4. How about New Orleans? 6-2 at the halfway point on top of the NFC South. You're watching the Blitz.
Back to SportsCenter's coverage of Monday Night Football. The Space Needle in Seattle, Washington. They call it the Emerald City, a city Warren Sapp would like to own on Monday night. You know, Warren Sapp is old school in that way your favorite uncle is old school. Still young and hip enough to relate to the young crowd, but will tell that young crowd in a second, hey, I've been around. 12 years Sapp has been around the NFL. He's always been used to winning. He won as an All-American tight end in high school, won at the University of Miami, went to the playoffs 5 times in 9 years in Tampa, won a Super Bowl, won an NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. And then he went to Oakland, where his sacks have decreased, his team's wins have decreased. In fact, the only thing that's increased whispers that he can't get it done anymore. But as Michelle Tafoya found out in the Sunday Conversation, Warren Sapp is still Warren Sapp.
So you come into the season expecting big things. You have an 0-5 start. During that stretch, what's going through Warren Sapp's mind?
How do I fix this? How do I fix this? That's the biggest thing you do at any time as a football player. And if you consider yourself one of the dogs, the lead dogs in this pack, you go in the mirror and you say, what can I do? You analyze your game. How can I get better in whatever I'm doing?
How have the players responded to Art Shell as a head coach?
I think we're still adjusting. I think we're still adjusting to him because he's got some funny stuff that he do at times, and we got some funny requests at times. I think he's adjusting to us well, and we've been in a little bit on some of the stuff we have to do, but hey, when it all boils down to it, he's the authority in this thing, so he makes the call, we got to do it. There's an old rule in football. You ain't got to like it. You just got to do it.
I read recently you said you got to temper things, tone it down a little bit, what you say, be a little more careful. What makes you think that?
I've tempered it down a little bit. I really have, but I'll let you know if you're playing good or if you're playing like a dog. The eye in the sky ain't going to lie. And don't ever make no mistake about that. I mean, don't fool yourself. Don't cheat this game or cheat the dudes that played it 80-something years before you or the 80 years after you. As we're playing a kid's game, getting paid a king's ransom. Let's enjoy this.
2 wins, back-to-back, 9 games to go. What are your realistic expectations now for the rest of this season?
1 week at a time. That's all we can do. Well, I mean, we get to defending NFC champions in their house on Monday Night Football. There's no better stage to, send a message across this country that, we ain't dead. There's an eruption coming, because there's a whole bunch of lava underneath this thing, because I watch it every day.
173 career games, 87.5 career sacks in the 1999 NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. Not a bad resume. Hey, if you're going to go to Seattle, you got to make sure you get a latte, some clam chowder, and some fish from Pike Place Fish Market, best in the Northwest.
Chargers have the NFL's touchdown leader and the best jerseys in sports. The powder blues just let them reign over you. First half, Chargers struggling until Randall Godfrey hits Charlie Fry, balls in the end zone. Marcus Harris gets it, touchdown, 6'1", 231, and that's a back round off something. Marty Schottenheimer gave the team a tongue lashing at the half, and LT explodes. LaDainian Tomlinson, 41-yard touchdown. He would end up with 3 touchdowns in the game, 18 carries, 172 yards. The man is magnificent. One more time, he spins. Sexy time. Chargers beat the Browns by 7.
Hey, with the Giants looking past the Texans, maybe to the Bears next Sunday night. David Carr in Houston had dropped 11 straight on the road dating back to last season. Bad news from Michael Strahan. Rolled his right foot, had to leave the game, didn't return, x-rays negative. Carr, you know, he was benched last week, playing like he had something to prove, dives into the end zone, a 2-yard touchdown, actually gave the Texans the lead at that point. In the fourth quarter now, Giants playing from behind. Play action, fools everybody. Eli Manning to Jeremy Shockey. Shockey dropped a touchdown earlier, hangs onto that one. Giants win. Tiki's fourth 100-yard rushing game in the last 5 contests.
To the NBA, Lakers haven't lost. Seattle hasn't won. Both of those changed on Sunday. Kobe drives to the hoop, up and under. He had 15. Ray Allen, you know, San Francisco's got 2 wins. Both came at home. They were at home Sunday. And earlier in the show, Steve talked about Joe Montana and Dwight Clark hooking up for a touchdown. Well, it was Alumni Day, and they were reenacting that famous touchdown pass championship game. It's been nearly 25 years ago. A week ago, the Niners gave up 41 in the first half. Their defense was stout in this one. It's a 6-3 lead they've gotten. They pound Brad Johnson. He fumbles. Niners recover one of 3 turnovers for the Vikings. That led to a field goal. Mike Nolan said, "I told my defense it's on you." After a drop on 3rd down, it's now a 4th down pass towards the end zone. Bethel Johnson was on the receiving end. It's broken up. The Niners, they respond nicely after getting housed last week.
Well, likely didn't matter who started at quarterback for the Jags in their game against the Titans. David Garrard did get the nod over the injured Byron Leftwich. On 3rd and 6, Jags with a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. Garrard to George Reister, 14-yard touchdown. Garrard is 6-1 as a starter over the last 2 seasons. 3rd quarter, Titans down 27-0. Vince Young trying to make something happen. Scott Starks picks him clean, 55 yards the other way. Young just 15 for 36. He's young, he'll learn. 3 interceptions on the day. Jags have won 6 straight at home.
I wouldn't run 26 miles straight if a dog was chasing me. Down duo in history. Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, one of the prettiest touchdown hookups they've ever had. Wendy Nix with your State Farm Road coverage on how the Colts won the game and Peyton won the individual battle.
It was billed as the week's marquee quarterback matchup, but on Sunday night, only one came as advertised. Peyton Manning threw for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns, despite a New England defense that came early and often.
We made some plays when they were blitzing. Those plays down to Marvin down the sideline, Reggie on the post, Reggie on the break-in. Those were good plays early to kind of help us get some points and get the lead.
They did a lot of things and brought some pressure. I thought he played well, and you know, just I guess I'm used to seeing it, you know. But this was a very good game by him against an exceptional defense.
He's one of the best in the league, so one of the best of all time. Plays well and made some real nice throws in there and got a lot of pressure. And we got a lot of pressure on him tonight, and he stands in there and makes all the throws. So he played very well, as you would expect.
Tony Dungy joked after the game that Lovie Smith let him down, erasing any hope the Bears would share the undefeated spotlight. But Dungy said his team was 8-0 last year and learned a thing or 2 along the way. In Foxborough, Wendy Nix, ESPN.
Road coverage, driven by State Farm. Great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm.
Sunday pucks at Madison Square Garden. Thriller between the...
When Green Bay gets another win, they'll match last year's total. When Brett Favre wins at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo, it'll be the first time he's done it. Early on, the Bills, bad news here. Willis McGahee taken down by Colin Cole. Left the field to be x-rayed for rib damage, didn't return. 2nd quarter, 3rd and 6. Favre looks for Donald Driver. London Fletcher takes it for his 2nd touchdown of the season. He also had 14 tackles. End of the 2nd quarter, 1st and goal for the Pack. Favre hit in the face with the ball. Aaron Schobel makes the recovery. 4 turnovers for Green Bay, none for Buffalo. One more look. Favre seems to be caught completely off guard. The Packers dominated every single statistical category that is relevant in the game except the scoreboard. Here on the goal line looking to tie the game. Donald Driver is on the receiving end, but it's tipped up by Nate Clements, and Co Simpson gets it. Returns, leads to another Bills touchdown. Green Bay dominates the stats, loses the game.
You might have been told there would be no math in this sports center. However, after Monday night's Oakland-Seattle game here on ESPN, we will have completed 9 weeks in the NFL. Everyone will have played 8 games. So the perfect time to join Sean Salisbury and check the pulse of the league. So at the halfway point of the season, Sean, who's the NFL's MVP?
No question, Peyton Manning, best player on the best team. Yeah, you got Steve Smith out there and Drew Brees. We could throw a lot of guys, but Manning's doing it all. I think he's having his best season because of the way they're winning and what he's got to do in controlling a new rookie running back in Joseph Adai. Everybody's involved in overcoming a tremendous deficiency on defense, and that's their run defense. MVP Manning, no-brainer.
You make some friends here. Who's the biggest surprise?
I'm going with the New Orleans Saints. You could put Brees on there, but Brees is a winner no matter what. The way the Saints 6-2 at the midway point, they're going to win this division. They keep playing like this, and their defense in particular has put pressure on. They've done everything with new head coach Sean Payton, who's be the coach of the year right now, that you need to do. They're playing better than anybody in the South.
All right, here's where we get to make some enemies. Who's your biggest disappointment?
Well, I don't need to make them. This team did it themselves, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, man.
This is a team that it's shocking. I know that they won a Super Bowl, but talk about a hangover, and they've gone through some difficult times. Their quarterback has not played well. They have not dominated the line of scrimmage. They've been pushed around a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, on special teams. When you combine all that, there's a big problem there. It leaves big disappointment. I expected them to compete for the division title again this year.
I bet at the start of the season, if we would ask for your power rankings, your top 5 teams, the Steelers would be right there. So clearly they're not. Yep. Where are your top 5 teams, power rankings, Sean Salisbury style, right now?
Well, let's start with number 5 and go the Chicago Bears. On Sunday, they showed some glaring weakness, a few injuries, but got pushed around by the Miami Dolphins. Number 4, the New York Football Giants. Jeff, they've bypassed now the number 1 team in the NFC because they're playing defense better. Then 3 AFC teams. The Chargers, Phillip Rivers has elevated his game, and oh, by the way, LT's pretty good. Number 2 go the New England Patriots. Even after their poor showing on Sunday night, they still have Brady and Belichick. They'll be around in January. And the best team is the Indianapolis Colts. As long as they can get better stopping the run on defense, they should be hanging around. But they're not going undefeated. Let me re-emphasize that.
All right, so you have the Colts and Patriots as the top 2 teams. Nice if they could meet in the Super Bowl. However, rules dictate they're both in the same conference, the AFC.
That's right.
So who meets in the Super Bowl?
Well, at the beginning of the year, Leaves, I had the Carolina Panthers against the Indianapolis Colts, with the NFC actually pulling this one off and winning. But the Panthers are so inconsistent. Heck, they're going to struggle to make the playoffs. I go Colts versus Giants, and I think the Colts are clearly the best football team. Boy, what a show that would be, huh? The Mannings. It lives up, be great for TV. I think the Colts, and it stays in the AFC, especially by looking at the midway point right now.
All right, more good stuff out of Sean Salisbury Monday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, a Sports Center special. He'll get you ready for Monday Night Football.
With that in mind, back in the day, Bo and the Boz hooked up Oakland and Seattle on the Monday night. Super Doppler says a monsoon's on the way. What do the guys in the booth think they'll see on the field? Your Monday night schedule here on ESPN, and it focuses around a football game.
Very busy.
Let me work backwards. The game's at 8:30. You got countdown at 7. You've got prime time at 6. PTI 5:30. Around the horn. And a Sports Center kickoff to get you set for the Monday night game. The men that will be calling it, we hope they can dress up like the Gorton's fishermen with the rain on the way. Mike Tirico and friends.
Well, gentlemen, halfway through the season, we have heard from the preseason the story of the last 5 years. If you lose the Super Bowl, you don't get back to the playoffs the next year. And people said that won't happen to Seattle. They're too good. Well, injuries have happened to Seattle. Now here they are trying to stay above 500 again without Sean Alexander, their running back, and their quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck.
But sports is the great purveyor of opportunity in America. On a Monday night game before a national televised audience, you'll have 2 quarterbacks that nobody has ever heard of. You've got Andrew Walter and Seneca Wallace, or maybe it's Seneca Walter and Andrew Wallace. I'm not exactly sure at this point. They get the opportunity to go out there an unknown and maybe come back a big star, maybe come back like Tom Brady. But if they come back like Marsha Brady, bad deal.
It would be a bad deal, but I'll give you a couple names that you do know. Randy Moss, only 2 catches in the last game for 20 yards. He's going to have to do better than that for the Raiders. And Deion Branch, now in his 5th game. They brought the MVP of Super Bowl 39 in to make an impact. I believe he'll start to do it now.
Yeah, the Raiders did beat Pittsburgh, even though they couldn't get 100 yards of total offense last week. And if they beat Seattle, they'll have back-to-back wins over the reigning conference champs. See you 8:30 Eastern, Monday night from rainy Seattle.
All right, Mike, we'll see you tomorrow night. MajorLeagueBaseball.com reporting that Ron Washington, third base coach of the A's, could be named as early as tomorrow, new manager of the Texas Rangers.
I'm Scott Van Pelt.
Steve Levy.
We're doing it again.
Even better.